Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining. Welcome to InRhythm Lightning Talks. I'm your host, Parag Katkar. I'm the head of consulting practices at InRhythm, and we have a lot of exciting content lined up for you, which we have especially curated for all of you. Our lightning talks are hosted every Thursday at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And each week, one of our practice area consultants, they share their knowledge on the evolving technology trends in the industry that will help you keep learning and growing. And as a part of our Lightning Talk series, today, Ashton Coghlan, who is a senior product manager with us, is going to speak about how to do product management for a design language system, which is also known as DLS. And I'm looking forward today to learn different aspects of product work involved in developing and maintaining a DLS. So without further ado, let's get it started, Ashton.
Great, thank you, Parag. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashton Coghlan. I'm a senior product manager here in InRhythm, as Parag just said. We're going to talk about product management for design language systems, and it's a lightning talk, so I'm going to try to go fast. All right, so here's a brief overview of today's talk. First, what's a design language system anyway? Then what's product? After that, we'll explore why and how you should PM your DLS. And finally, if there are any questions, I may or may not have answers. I'll try my best. So let's begin. All right. So first, a level set on a design language system definition, which I'll call DLS from now on. DLS is a set of rules and guidelines that provide structure and meaning to a collection of components and patterns. It's guided by design standards and coding principles that can be assembled together to build any number of applications. What's a product? Right? So DLS is a little bit different than a product. So what's a product? My favorite conceptualization of a product is that it's a conversation between a business and a set of customers, right? Also known as a market. The conversation ideally results in an exchange of value. So businesses send customers goods and services, customers send businesses money and data. Melissa Perry, who's a phenomenal thought leader in product management, in her seminal work, Escaping the Build Trap, goes into great detail about this value exchange, and I'd highly recommend that read. So now, to facilitate that conversation, you build some tech, right? And that tech facilitates the conversation, the value exchange. But that tech you create isn't the product. Like, it's a thing, yeah, but let's take a more expansive view of product. Because your business, customers, and technology are all too intertwined. For Marty Kagan's great post title with the product, he argues tech decision can dramatically impact what the customer does, for better or for worse. Likewise, the customer decision significantly impacts business consideration. And of course, business constraints can and will impact the customer and technology options. So a successful tech product has to solve for the customer, it has to solve for the business, and has to solve for the technology. And with regards to product management, the entire thing is your product, right? A product has no value without all three. So now a DLS is often considered like an internal tool, but you're operating more within a B2B2C context, right? Business to business to customer context. Let's say the C-suite is primary business and your downstream app and feature teams, right? Your downstream product teams, they're your customers, right? And so your DLS is the tech in the middle, facilitating that conversation. C-suite sends direction and constraints to the product teams, and those teams send external and internal data back to the C-suite to make better decisions. And again, as product managers, we're here to maximize the value of the entire exchange. So our chessboard is a larger product, not only the DLS tech. So I started hinting at product management right there. So let's talk a little bit about how PMs help you maximize the value of your design language system. So, you're paying PMs to drive impact primarily with a set of tech, right? That is what you're paying us for. Drive impact. Impact means revenue, cost savings, improved service, pretty much. And more recently with ESG, we're being incentivized to drive environmental and social impact, which is smart and good. But we do three things. Said two, but really three. Sorry. We do three things to drive that impact. First, we help develop a vision, right? Then a strategy to enable us to achieve that vision. And finally, tactical execution through hopefully, best practices, lean experimentation to validate that strategy and prove our results. So let's say you and you're in fact or a manager of sorts green lights the development of a DLS. And you're so excited. You want to share your vision with the rest of the company because a design language system affects the entire company. So you might say, hey, we're going to do this thing and it's going to be epic. Let me tell you all the details and timeline. Seriously, for God's sake, please do not mention the DLS in your first communication. Your vision is the world you want to create. Talk about the problems that your current disparate visual environment causes your customers and how that results in mistrust, hurts your brand, and decreases revenue. And the struggles, confusion, delays, and lack of self-actualization for members of your own product teams who are reinventing the wheel every month. And then mention, hey, a better world is possible. Then you go into impact talk, revenue from improved experiences, collaboration between designers and developers, efficiency, creativity, innovation, velocity. Don't use the word design. And please do not say, this is our vision of a design language system. If you work in an enterprise, you already have at least 5 design systems in place already right now. And if you utter the words DLS or design language system or design system, I've used those interchangeably right now. If you utter those words without getting people on aboard your boat first, right, you've immediately made 5 enemies along with all of their subordinates. You are now the reason for the internal politics. And just because you decided a big enough vision wasn't worth your time, make allies, not enemies. Take the time to develop a stellar vision. And the vision does not need to be a single sentence that you got to put on a slide deck. The vision is a story. You can express that story through poetry or extended prose, through cartoon storyboards or a 1-minute commercial. Do whatever, just tell the story. Keep it to the impact, the world you want to create. Now, if the vision is the world you want to create, then your strategy is how you're going to get there. I really like Roger Martin's definition of strategy. He says it's an integrative set of choices that positions you on a playing field of your choosing in a way that you win. I really like that because choices are decisions. And the decisions you make about product strategy, they carry risk. Like if you're wrong, that might be bad, and they're risky by definition. And in the product world, decisions that carry risk are considered bets. And if you have a bunch of bets, you have a portfolio of bets. And so your bet portfolio is your strategy. Your bet portfolio is your strategy. Your portfolio of bets of decisions that carry risk, that's your strategy. You're making bets that if you do X, then you'll achieve Y, which is part of your overall vision. Right? There are some bets that are pretty obvious, for a DLS, such as, you got to make a global button as part of your DLS. You got to make one. Like, okay, there's not much risk by making one. There's significant risk in not doing it, right? But here's where strategy gets fun. Which buyer persona are you going to interact with first? Who's the first product team, downstream product team that you're going to give, or who's going to want that button, right? You got to make these choices within each aspect of your strategy because you want to maximize the value exchange in your product conversation between the C-suite and your downstream product teams, right? Going back to that conversation. That means you want to maximize product team adoption of your design language system, right? You want as many product teams downstream to adopt your DLS, right? To have, to maximize the value of that product for everyone involved. So who do you want to go after first, right? Do you want to go after the team that's probably most well-known, that's a superstar team with a full backlog probably that's already, using another design system? Kind of risky, kind of loud, right? Or maybe a new team that was just spun up who you can convince, hey, try out our product first, right? Be a trailblazer. Go up to them at the coffee machine, bring them over at happy hour, schmooze them up a little bit. Or my personal favorite, a team who's struggling, and they really need some help to turn this quarter around, right? How can you help them so that they can help you with some adoption momentum? So what does that mean in terms of a design language system product roadmap? Well, just another definition here. Sorry for all the definitions, but a product roadmap is a strategic tool that outlines the vision, direction, and progress of a product over time, serving as I want to emphasize this point, as a prototype for product strategy. Say that one more time. It's a prototype for product strategy, right? It maps out key features and needed learnings, highlighting how the product could evolve to meet the downstream product team's needs and achieve C-suite goals. But it's a visual representation of the strategic decisions, right? Those bets and plans that guide your DLS development. It's not a timeline of the things you're going to build. And the further out, right? It's not a strict timeline. Sorry. There are things that are pretty set in stone that you want to do now, then next and later, it's a little bit amorphous. You're not quite sure. Those are a little bit riskier, right? But it's a representation of your strategy, and you want to put it to the test, right? You want to show people. You want to share it. You want people to poke holes in it. Because if you poke hole in your strategy, the strategy is a little amorphous. People are like, okay, that's fine. If people start tearing down a strict plan that you have, then people around the org are going to start talking about, oh, they don't have a plan, they don't know what they're doing. And that's not what you want. It's okay to have a strategy that you're still working through. And that's what your product roadmap is. It's a visualization of your strategy. If that's a little too fuzzy and you need something like tangible to give to a leader, if you need to put people at ease for a little bit, here's a free waterfall roadmap for a component library. They're at least ordered in a logical manner so that each component builds off the previous one. In products, sometimes, you can go about it in the ideal way, or in an ideal manner where you're always chasing outcomes and not outputs. Outcomes are tangible changes in user behavior, and we want to operate in the land of metrics and KPIs and learning. But sometimes you just got to give. You got to give someone above you a tangible output-driven roadmap, and here's a free one. I wouldn't suggest doing this for all aspects of a design language system, but some of the parts that are pretty well established and don't need to be reinvented, like a component library roadmap, like go ahead, just do that. Give yourself some time to really work through the other hard parts of the work of the job. Speaking of the hard parts of the job, another reason, the third part of why or how PMs help you maximize value of a DLS is day-to-day tactical execution, right? So it's not just fluffy visioning and strategy work, but it's implementing short-term detailed actions to achieve the strategic goals of that product, right, of that DLS, which again includes the value to your customers, right, the downstream product team, the business, your C-suite, and the tech itself, the DLS. So what are we talking about? We're talking about, as often as you make product decisions, really updating roadmaps, right? Your backlog prioritization of components, documentation, etc. User stories, acceptance criteria, tracking progress, you're managing resources. You're managing resources. You might not always have your full team. People are going to get taken off your team. You're going to have to try to convince other people to say, hey, can you help me out a little bit? I know this isn't within your purview for the week, but can you lend me 2-3 hours over here, right? Coordination, collaboration, that little garbage fire in the corner that could burn the whole place down that only you see, you gotta do whatever's necessary. You gotta celebrate the wins to improve morale. And when you see how things need to change based on the product experiments you're running, based on the feedback you're getting from those downstream product teams or the C-suite during those product conversations as you're building, you will iterate, and you have to manage that too. And that is tactical execution too. So in essence, tactical execution focuses on the how of getting a product from concept to market, ensuring that the strategic vision is realized through careful and effective operational management. So key takeaways of this lightning talk. Products are conversations, right? Treat them as such. Treat your DLS as a product, right? Or productize really your DLS, because it itself, the tech itself, it's how it facilitates the conversation. Invest in your vision, right? And share it wide. Your vision's your foundation. Share it early and share it wide. And your roadmap is your strategy prototype, which is kind of cool to think about. Finally, execution is a grind. Outsource it to a PM. don't try to have the team do it. It's a grind. It's difficult, and PMs have a lot of ways to just get things done. Ensure that things get done, and ensure that there are feedback mechanisms within the product, so that not only are you just getting things done and checking or ticking off, check boxes, but you're learning and iterating and growing and maximizing value along the way. So, thank you very much. This was fun. And questions are and some answers maybe.
Yes, and excellent talk, first of all. Question, from your experience, and I mean, you really covered a lot of things, but from your experience, like, where do you see the enterprises struggling the most, and what would be your advice?
Yeah, so a lot of companies, especially in the enterprise, they know the value of a design language system. It's pretty straightforward in terms of how it cuts costs and efficiency. It increases efficiencies and creates more value for the end users. But how it can help their internal staff really grow as people and as practitioners of within software development, that's something that I haven't seen a whole lot, and that really comes back to the vision part, right, which is the foundation of it. Like, make a vision that's big, that's exciting, that's inspirational and aspirational, and get everyone on board as big as wide as you can. People will find their place on the boat, but you can't have a little dinghy that says like, okay, it was a 10-person team creating a design language system for a 100,000 person enterprise. Like, get more people involved. Make allies, not enemies. And you can actually bypass almost all internal politics with a properly crafted and rolled out vision. So I would say, enterprises tend to kind of maybe skim and just put a little statement like, okay, this is what we're doing, that's our vision. No, invest in that. Enterprises spend months, if not a couple of years, trying to gather the support and the money to launch a design language system project within their company. Like, you have plenty of time to create a great vision and create that story and test it out. Do it.
Cool. Thanks, Ashton.